Welcome to the Beats and Balance podcast, a space for conversations at the intersection of creativity, healing, and community. Each week, we sit down with artists, healers, and everyday people to explore stories of transformation, resilience, and the ways we use creativity to survive and thrive.
All right, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Beats and Balance podcast. I'm Tinora, your host. And today we're sitting down with Jessica Sinclair, a powerful communicator, educator, best-selling author, and community builder whose work helps people step into their voice with confidence. From hosting major events to coaching everyday professionals, Jessica creates spaces where growth, clarity, and connection can flourish. And we're going to talk about her journey today, the heart behind Network Like You Mean It, and the tools we all need to show up fully in our purpose. Jessica, thank you so much for being here today and welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much. It's an honor and privilege to be in this space. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Really glad to have you here as well. All right, so let's just get started, hop right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what led you to creating your business.
Oh, wow. That's such a great question. And it's a great question. And I've done a lot. So I'm going to try to tighten it up a bit. So my name is Jessica Sinclair. I am a thought leader on the power of networking. I had a background in public relations and advertising right out of college, got a lot of great opportunities. And then the recession happened. I am a pivot queen. My brother told me about the healthcare system. You have a background in communications. Why don't you work with doctors? And I'm like, I just came from the entertainment field, hanging out with J-Lo. Like, why would I want to put on scrubs, And I knew that my father wanted a nurse in the family. Shout out to all the Caribbean massives out there, the Yardis. They're very big on structure. They're very big on having a career that won't allow you to go hungry. Let's just say that for lack of a better word. I said, all right, I'm already in the healthcare seat. I'm a Unix secretary. I'm picking up very fast, have an entertainment and writing background, but here I am talking about medical terminology. And so the community around you is really important because it was the Jamaican and Haitian nurses said to me, well, you can always write and still be a nurse. This profession is so flexible. I'm like, got accepted to Nassau Community College. Shout out to them. Full circle moment. I'm an administrator there now, but I'll get back to that. And so I knocked out the nursing program and was able to, like they said, have a schedule, still utilize the skills I had as an entertainment publicist, as a marketing liaison at the time. And so as I was in nursing school, I was saying yes to a lot of speaking engagements and a lot of MC opportunities. And they're like, well, where's your invoice? And I'm like, well, I just came to volunteer. I don't have an invoice. And they're like, and they kept on saying, you're leaving money on the table. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I don't know. And so again, the community around me. So there was a community around me as a secretary in the medical field, a community around me telling me I need to monetize my voice. 2016 came, I graduated that day and I started my business as a sole proprietor. And I really shout out to all my resources who told me to scale, get more things on paper so you can be in different rooms. And that particular person was my tax consultant. He said, yeah, sole proprietorship is very limiting. Let's form an S Corp. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Like corporate, and I'm like, he's onto something here. Fast forward to 2018. I never stopped, got my MWBE, got my DOE vendorship, was still navigating healthcare, but it was just taking a toll on my well-being, taking a toll on how I showed up, my authentic self. I actually just spoke about this in a podcast about knowing when things don't serve you well and attaching or detaching yourself, keyword, to feeling stuck because of money. And I can say this probably more easier than someone that has children or has a husband, because they have so many people depending on them. But if you have a plan, you can still execute. So this is my first year, no longer working full-time as a nurse. I'm proud of that. I was able to get recruited from my nursing program actually at a vendor event. So again, it's like everything just kept on clicking when I allowed myself to just be and to be this networking queen as I was labeled as that. But it's like my calling to just connect people, and the labels that people put on me, like, oh, the nurse, the author. it's because of me knowing who I'm supposed to be and allowing myself the space to expand. And if I can leave your viewers with anything, it's just like expansion is different than stretching. And expansion allows you to utilize all those tools that I mentioned to get where I am here. But you have to be in that mindset for change. So I'm a little Jessie that could, I always say, because the train is still going. I launched a course, just trying to give my community the tools that they need. And it's been a blessing. It's been a hell of a 2025 for everyone, but I'm still here and I love this work and I'm not going to stop this work.
Love that.
Thank
I
you.
think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, right? Is the difference between having something that feels like it's stable and secure versus doing something that feels fulfilling,
Yeah.
and something that you're passionate about. And a lot of people, I think, feel like the two can't meet.
Hmm.
Or you have to have like a 9 to 5 boring job, and then you have to, your passions have to be put on the side for when you have time. And I think that, what I'm seeing now with a lot of people in our generation and younger kids is that they're like, nah, like, forget that. Like, I don't want to spend any time doing the boring stuff. I want to just focus on my passion. So I think that's really cool when people take that leap of faith, just like, you know what, like, this feels right
Yeah.
in my soul and this is what I want to do. And, we all come from backgrounds, I think, especially people of color, where your parents are
Yeah.
like, I want you to be secure. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, my mom is a lawyer. She'd be like, film school is not real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you need to go and be pre-law
Same.
and do all these things. And
Hmm.
and so I was like very like corporate minded for a very long time, and I was burning out and hating my
Yep.
life,
Yes.
and not understanding why I was sick all the time.
Mm,
But it's scary to make that leap. So definitely,
absolutely.
much power to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And, and also accepting something else, but setting the terms. Like as a nurse administrator, I said, I'm only working 2 days. I'm only going to maximize that 2 days here because my brand needs me. So I'm not going to come on here and sugarcoat like, oh yeah, I just took a leave. I allowed them to accept me for the terms that I've set out. So that's another thing too. Like set your terms. Let them know that if you want me, it comes with this particular criteria, if you will, for lack of a better word, but it can happen for you. You just have to have the willpower and also know what your value. Like a lot of us don't know who we are. So how can others value what we bring? And you mentioned the young ones, like my niece and my nephews. Everybody wants to be this rising star, but you may have to go to work for someone for a bit. Passion is great, but at some point you got to have structure. And everyone's a sensation on TikTok, and they just want to microwave life, and it doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, it can happen, but you got to have something stable, and you got to have structure too. You know,
For
that's
sure.
important.
All right. So, what experience would you say shaped your passion for communication, hosting, and helping others develop their professional voice?
A lot of different things. Just so first and foremost, family, being the only American child, I found that my opportunities were different. I went to a predominantly white high school. I saw how I could leverage that. I saw how I didn't necessarily have the community there, but other people kind of took me under their wing. I say that communities, it's everything. Like communities, everything. I was a part of the 100 Black Women Coalition as a young voice who was predominantly around blonde people, and they poured into me about showing up on time, about utilizing my voice for the greater good, being a professional, although I'm only 17, like etiquette, body language. So I'm saying to myself, not everybody got these seeds. Not everybody got to be under a 100 Black Women Coalition, guidance, mentorship. I end up getting recruited for that later on in life. It's just so many full circle moments have happened to me. And so I thought it would be a disservice to know how to communicate effectively and not pour into my community on a level where I can speak about it. My course developed really in my, childhood room, my, just being frustrated with corporate, finding a job, etc. but knew that I had something else that everybody else wanted because people just kept on saying, hey, Sinclair, what's going on with you? Why don't you have a webinar? Why aren't you the red carpet host? Like, I don't want any of that attention. I just want to do the work. And it's like, how many times are you going to tell God no? He is going to put it in your face. Like, so my first workshop was how to network effectively, did it in a church, then I rented out a hall. And then from there, I'm in corporate talking about this. So just putting the people first and understanding that value is added when you say yes and you put yourself in a place to win and not letting, oh, I'm surrounded by white people or whatever, Europeans, and not feeling intimidated. It empowered me. I used that to get my people to show up like them. I think that's what the goal is. I don't even think I've ever put it to terms why I do this work. It's to make sure that we don't feel that we're not enough. And if I can help one person, my job is done. Communication is so multi-level, and that's why it's given in electives, in colleges, but it really needs more spotlight. If you don't know how to do an elevator pitch, you're not going to the next level. If you don't understand what your assets are, what your strengths are and your weaknesses, no one's going to want to collaborate. So I have a foundation, like I have a method to my madness, and it's to get everyone to upskill and be excited about upskilling, versus partying or buying luxury items. You deserve this upskill. You deserve these things that I am producing. And so, I just love helping people be better. Yeah. I just love helping people be better. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So your program Network Like You Mean It, it's impacted students, parents, professionals. What are some of the core principles behind your curriculum?
Really great question. I love talking about Network Like You Mean It, trademarked, right? Make sure you have that stuff because they do, right? They're owning their property. How are you owning your property? But to get back to this, because I always get all like worked up because I love this stuff. So Network Like You Mean It is a personal and professional development platform. And what does that mean? It means that I'm taking you down a foundation on how to be strategic, how to be humble, and how to be resilient. And through these pathways, we start about the mindset, right? If your mind is unclear, if your mind is foggy, you're not going to execute. If you're tired, so what does well-being mean? Does it mean deep breathing in the morning? Does it mean doing some yoga? Does it just mean sitting in silence? So the first tier is self-discovery. Once you understand why you're here, once you understand what you have to say, then I can navigate you down to understanding different styles of communication. And that is listener, receiver, and whatever else is in the universe which I call the third person, because if I'm talking and you're listening, something else is happening in the background, which I always call the third party, to where now we're going to have the meshing of the dialogue. I think a lot of people overtalk and a lot of people are distracted in conversation. So we talk about honing in on communication techniques in a conversation. Then we also navigate understanding how are you talking about yourself in 30 to 60 seconds where you have strategically given them the information that they need to say, hey, let's follow up with a meeting or let's follow up with a coffee or whatever. During that time, that's the most important time that I think a lot of people drop the ball. They drop the ball on the follow-up, on the follow-through. And there's different avenues to communicate, right? We're on social. I met you on social. I DM'd you. I saw that you interviewed a sister. I love the quality of the interview. I'm going to go reach out to someone. Somebody else may not have that confidence. And so that's what we're doing within the communication program. We're boosting your confidence. So you say, why not me? It's either I can or I can't. And that's where a lot of the gray area, there's a lot of people that are just dancing in and out. We all have a choice, but communication is universal. And if you don't know what you're saying, you're not going to get to the next level. And whatever that next level is, I'm not pumping or producing entrepreneurs, but I'm producing people that have more self-awareness. Self-awareness is key. If you don't know where you are, then you're not going to be clear on what your destination is. And so, through my yoga practice and through understanding why I was born, that's probably another conversation. But if you understood why you were here, you would move different. You would utilize every minute, every second of the day to your advantage. And we talk about that in the program. Or if I talk about that as a DOE vendor, utilize your time because life is short. I lost my nephew last year. It just changed my whole life. I just can't believe who I am today in relation to who I was last year. I was a beast. I was a corporate machine in my business. Because remember, I told you I'm an S Corp. But I was tired. When does a parent get a break? So I teach the parents. I teach wellness. But communication is a pathway. It's just a tool that I use to get people unstuck.
Very cool.
Thank you.
I think that's a huge thing. I think a lot of people, especially, I don't know if who you're working with is specifically Black women or Black folks at all, but I know for our demographic, society makes it very difficult to have a sense of self.
Yes.
Over many generations. I am a little bit different because my mother was adopted by white people. So my grandfather was a 6'5" white professor, and he taught me to speak like him.
Excellent.
And I noticed as I got older, when I went to spaces, white folks be very taken aback that I look at them as an equal because it's like, I talk like you, I have more education than most of you. And there's been some pushback to that, but it also has helped a lot. I used to be a music journalist for a major magazine. Like I've been able to navigate spaces that I didn't realize until later. Looking back, it was like, oh, like that's not normal.
Correct.
And then when I started getting into doing community work, because I pivoted into nonprofit work, and I would see these kids, like I had fellows, and I would see the lack of confidence. Like it would be weird because they'd be so confident, like when we're talking, like, and I'd be like, yo, you have so, like, how in your little body do you have so much confidence? But when they enter certain spaces, like we go into a Senate office and then they shut down completely.
They shrink.
Yeah. So that always threw me off. And it like, it's hard because for me, it's like I did a backwards thing where I was like, you know what? I'm not code switching anymore. Like this all feels racist. I know what my education is. If you feel like I say yo and that makes you think I'm stupid, then that lets me know that you're stupid and I don't need to work with you.
Yes.
But not everybody is in the place where they can do that. And so like it is a super valuable skill, not to know how to code switch necessarily, but to have the confidence to walk into any room and know that you know who you are, like you said.
Absolutely.
So yeah, what's your advice for like the kids that you work with? How do you bridge that gap?
So we're not code switching. Like this is Jessica, right? I walk in, I get, so it's funny as a publicist with the name of Jessica Sinclair, you don't know who I am, right? I walk in, it's like, oh, so that's the voice. I am the voice. And so, yes, I articulate well. That doesn't mean I'm code switching. This is how I articulate every single day.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And so you said something so key, which has not been the advantage for me because they don't want me to look like this. They don't want me to sound like this. So that's why I haven't been so successful in corporate because I don't show up the way they want me to. And
they want you to be like Cardi B.
Yeah.
And
I was told that, like, where did you go to school? Who do you know? Well, I know. So I didn't know.
I went to boarding school and had kids ask me if I came from the ghetto.
So it's like shame on them for making me not feel accepted. So accepted and value are two different things. I've never felt accepted in the hospital settings because of how I showed up. And in the story in their mind is I'm fake or I need the Jessica that the image that the TV shows where she's rolling her neck. I never had to roll my neck at the high school. They wanted me because this is who I am. So when I talk to the students, I say that if you don't know who you are, society and everyone will put their trauma on you. You gotta be sturdy in all tens. You just have to be, right? And that's what I'm trying to build up. I teach in the Bronx, right? A lot of trauma there, a lot of gang activity. So then I have to bring it down. It's not code switching, but then I'm bringing it down to their level so they can understand what I'm saying. But it's the same voice. Yeah, what up, son? They're like, oh, Miss Sinclair, call me son, and it's lit.
Yeah.
But it's still the Miss Sinclair. I'm just making my content to your level so you can understand. And I don't want to look stuffy because when they see me, they're like, you sure you're not in high school? I'm like, yo, say it again, kid. So I can do the dance. I can play the game, with the students to make them comfortable. But when they're up there presenting, their back is relaxed and they're going to articulate. They're going to project, right? But if I wasn't in the scene at that high school, I wouldn't have known anything. Like how your grandpa helped you. You didn't know anything, so you were easily to adapt to what he was saying. If you were in the projects, you're like, come on, grandpa, well, get out of here. So he got you at a time when you were very vulnerable. Like the high school that I went, they had me from 7th grade to 12th grade. You best believe I'm going to walk out and graduate very sturdy with my head high because I didn't know anything else. But when I go to Queens, which is not too far from Long Island, I'm like, these girls are different and they're not going to like me. They called me Oreo. Okay, cool. Because you never saw someone like me. Even in the dating world, it's just like, who are you? You're not the traditional Black woman. I said, what makes me so different? How you articulate. I'm like, okay, I've been hearing that all my life. What else? You know, so if you don't know, you don't know. And that's okay. But my students are going to know because I'm bringing all that experience to them. And this is what I tell the educators, the people that have to say yes. I shouldn't say educate, the leaders. You know, if you don't give someone like Jessica Sinclair a chance, it's a disservice because I'm taking everything that I've learned and I'm pouring into them in 60 minutes. Like, it's a no-brainer to me. But, you know, there's a lot of machines and there's a lot of things happening, you know, hence why I launched my own digital course because I'm not going to wait for the yeses. I've been doing that all my life, man. The kids need what I have. So that's the call to action, you know, invest in your children. Do not let the school system dictate what they should be learning because that's what it has. Okay, I think I'm going to take a step back because now in my mind, the history of the education system in New York is clicking in. And I don't want to go too intense here in this interview, but if you knew more about the education system and who the decision makers were and are, you'd be more invested in your child. Okay. Why do you think the kids are sitting in a row? Individualism. In my workshops, we're in a circle, collective, but I want to respect your podcast. I don't want them to come for us, but you know,
no, let them. My podcast is about speaking truth to power.
So I'm getting all warm because if you knew about the KKK's wives, if you knew about more control that you guys just don't see. This is why we're at a disadvantage. This is why our country, compared to others, is so low with education. It's just not that important. They want you to just say, yes, give me a job. You know, we're not developing critical thinking. And I love nursing for that because it's all about the ABCs, right? Airway, breathing, circulation. So that's how I approach life, right? What are my 3 things that are non-negotiable? Just like airway, breathing, circulation. You got to have those 3 or else you're not going to be alive. So if we knew more about the system, we would try a little bit harder. That mom and dad are tired, right? Who's raising the kids after school? It's the TV, it's the tablet. So it's bigger than us, I understand. But each day you can just try to do something differently. Like I tell them all the time, right? So I try to make things tangible for any audience, measurable for any audience, and most importantly, actionable. When you're done with my workshop, who you spoke to yesterday? Who did you speak to the next day? You know, it's actionable tips. It's not a snooze fest. I'm very full of life, very energetic because I believe in you. And when you have people that believe in you, that makes all the difference.
No, that's true.
And like I said, 100 Black women, they believed in me. I always bring them up because, I didn't have much identity. I didn't have much mirroring happening in the high school. So I'm so grateful for that.
Quick thank you to our listeners. We partnered with Mantra Matcha and Severista Coffee to give you exclusive discounts. Clean, steady matcha energy and smooth, low-caffeine coffee, no jitters. Use code BALANCE.
I think it's really difficult, right? Like, as you said, there's the way that they tell you that you have to be professional, but then that can be backlash when you're Black and they're not expecting that and then they feel threatened. Like, this person is not conforming to the stereotype in my brain.
Yes.
And the side of that on a personal, like that can be super demoralizing.
Yes.
When it happens so many times. Even like you said, like in hospital situations, my wife had cancer.
Oh
She's
my
a professor. On the form that they give you, it's like, how do you want to be addressed?
Yeah.
Doctor, whatever. Every single doctor, when they saw that she said like doctor, that's how she wanted to be, like it was like drama, like attitude. I'm like, this woman's sitting here with cancer and you're treating her like shit because you don't want to call her doctor.
Oh my God.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, how do
Mm-hmm.
you deal with like that frustration of like, I did everything that you said I needed to do to be successful, and then the goalpost keeps getting pushed back, and it seems like it's never enough, or no matter what you do, you're still going to be mistreated.
Yes. And when those things happen, and that's why I said work on two things at the same time, because had I not, I wouldn't be here today with a business that has been here for 9 years, still navigating because every presidency and everything changes how we're able to spend, right? And it was a really tough year. But at that point, I lost myself, I wasn't happy. I wasn't smiling anymore. My family saw it. They got worried. I went to a yoga ranch for a week, and that's why I started incorporating yoga into my practice, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, it didn't take a toll on me. It did. It's just like, why can't I play with you people? I got the RN now. You told me I needed associates. I got the bachelor's. I have all of these citations. If I would bring you to my office and citations are earned. They're not just given. I do community work. Why? I had to change my mindset. And at some point you just have to, it's either you're going to fold, right? Or you're just going to move on. And God took me out of there right at the nick of time. I started twitching. Like I had tremors. And you're telling me she's sick and you can't give her the grace still. So at that point to me, it's just like, you know what? You just don't want me to breathe at this point. Right?
Yeah.
You frightened me in the procedure. I was a procedural nurse. Everything has to be sterile. Oh, Jessica. And I'm like, what happened? Oh, because you wanted me to break the sterile field so I can get written up. So now you guys are using tactics now.
Sabotage. Yeah.
Come on now. They won't stop. Remember, guys, if you're, and I was saying if you're tuning in, but that's their job. That's their mission in life, is to make you uncomfortable. So when I realized that to meditation and going to the yoga ranch, I said, listen, God, I got to show up different. When I came back from the yoga ranch, I felt lighter and I had my exit plan ready. My bullier, I started recording everything that she was doing. I started giving, they don't like when you have receipts, and make sure you're recording things so it captures the time of day versus a photo. Cause they may say, oh, you Photoshopped. I had to be more tactful, just like them. And when the day came and I had all these receipts, they're like, oh, wow. Okay. You weren't just crying wolf anymore. Just like pain management. Oh, you guys are strong. Why are my people strong? Because we were slaves and we took the lashing? Because I say these things. So that makes me public enemy number one, because I understand my voice. I saw these kids. Oh, sit down, professor. My white counterpoints. I say that I'm in the guidance counselor's office. I'm like, what the? But she just said it, So guys, we have to know why we're here. You got to know why you were made to come on this earth. And so servant leadership just kept on coming up in my vision. I am a servant leader. I am unstoppable. But it took some time to get here. It took 2 years. And some people it takes a lifetime, and that's okay. Don't give up on yourself. Do the work. Go to the informationals. That's another thing that we don't do. It could be free information. We're not showing up. We don't value. So ask yourself this. What are the stories that I have been told? What are the home values that I have been told? And then look at who you are, because you're a product of everything. Every life experience you're a product of. I like to call it the circle. I think it's called a Venn diagram. Don't judge me. Yeah, but at some point, you're going to take a little bit of everything and then manifest what you want. It's just that simple, honestly. But you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready for the pivot. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. Professional development is a lot of work, but it can be fun work, because it's like you're working on yourself. Like if you're not excited about that and scared about that, who are you? Like,
You have to make it about doing it for you as opposed to for
Yeah.
external validation.
Yeah, and I think at some points I had to take a step back because I kind of technically want it more than them. Whomever my
Mm-hmm.
audience is, I find that they're like, "Oh my God, you're such a great cheerleader." Yeah, but then that's draining too. So I have to know how to conserve my energy more. I'm better. That's something that I'm working on because people just don't see the value in themselves. And so I can teach you, I can show you, but you got to be ready for it. And I think that's my new marketing plan for the next few months is to pour into the people that are ready versus pouring into others. Because when you're a business, you want everyone to be your customer, right? So I'm trying to tighten up on that because I'm a humanitarian at heart. I'm an Aquarian. If you know, you know.
I'm a Libra. We
Yeah.
air signs.
Oh,
We right there.
oh my God, we're gonna be besties. Okay, so air signs don't play,
Yeah.
So I'll leave that there.
No, for real. It's real.
Yeah.
Since you brought it up, like what tips do you have for people that are facing burnout? Because it is a lot of people that I think watch the podcast and a lot of people that have been on the podcast are service oriented, where it's like,
Mhm.
I want to give, I want to give, I want to give, but then you end up giving everything and you have nothing left for yourself. So the question I always ask everybody is, what tools do you use to make sure that your cup is staying full so that you have something
Absolutely.
to give?
For me, I have to schedule it,
Mm-hmm.
and you just got to use this device. Got to use it. We use it for, so funny. My vision board's on here that I did a few years ago.
Love that.
Yeah, I archive everything. So this is real, right? I got to have the vision there, guys. Like I'm showing you my personal phone. This brand is sturdy. It is servant leadership. My vision board is here. Utilize this phone. I was a part of the 5 a.m. club. Jessica, what's the 5 a.m. club? Is when I was getting up at 5 a.m. when the world is most silent. It was the hardest thing I could have ever. I find that it was harder than studying for the NCLEX to be a nurse because it's self-motivational, right? Every day for 3 months, I was in a program called the Joy Activation. Guys, I don't play around personal and professional development. I will pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this sister who ran it, it was called the Joy Activation to stay on topic. And so she challenged you to wake up for 1 month at 5 o'clock. It was the best month I ever had. So any service persons out there, we have to schedule that time in. Do not think your brain is going to remember it. Our brain is chemically programmed to have more negative thoughts. So if you wake up, so to your listeners, if you know this information that I just told you, that every day you're going to have 10 negative thoughts and one positive, it's telling you that you got to do the work. So the work is setting an alarm for whatever time. For me, it was at 5 o'clock. Now it's not as early because I got so tired. It's around 7 o'clock. And I just do my deep breathing. I set the tone for my day. I don't know if they can hear me clap, but it's just like 1, 2, 3. And it's a nice pattern. And you're going to once you start seeing the results, because we're so result driven society, and that's okay, you're going to keep on doing it. And that's what I do before I even touch the phone. I turn off the buzzer like this in my eye, like, all right. And then after I do 3 rounds of cycle deep breathing, so it's 1, 2, 3, breathe in, and H-A-R. I already feel good just doing this right here on the program. Let me tell you, I may fall asleep. I do 3 rounds of that, and then I use guided meditation. Use resources on YouTube because I found that silent meditation had me thinking about the bill I gotta pay. So be flexible with your learning to understand yourself. But there's so many. Louise Hay, game changer for me. Her voice is very soothing. She has good morning, beautiful. Mary J. Blige said it, right? She was going through so much darkness. She had to, I don't want to say lie to herself. She goes, I know she said she didn't feel beautiful, but she tricked her brain and she had a whole album. So if all of these people are using trauma as a way to get unstuck, you're no different, right? I always say, who am I? I know who I am, but I say it to get me going. So if you can't give yourself 3 rounds of deep breathing to start your day, you can't complain to us, right? You got to love yourself, self-love. But I think that would be the most simplest tip right now is to understand your breath. Remember earlier in the program, I said airway, breathing, circulation. Write down the 3 things I just said. How are you breathing, right? Because if you're not going in and out, everything is stuck and staying in. And now, okay, so I'm getting very sciencey. Just breathe, because I'm saying your CO2 level is not cooling off. Now you're dizzy. Fainting has a lot to do with too much CO2 in our body. And a lot of women, when I was a stress nurse, we called it, I did stress testing. I had them run on the treadmill. You'd be surprised how many people can't even run because they have so much inside.
That used to be me.
Yeah. So we just have to show up for ourselves, most importantly, but do it when your day hasn't gotten started. All the greats, Steve Harvey, 2:00 Club. I'm like, damn, 2:00. Senior, yes, he has a team, but he's still got to wake up. Yeah. Kris Jenner. Queen Latifah says 2 hours in the morning, nobody can talk to her. And I'm asking you guys for 3 deep breaths. Like, for 2 hours, her assistant, her significant other, no, they can't talk to her. She has a space. Meditation is life-changing, guys. I don't tell my audience to do things that I don't do myself.
I love that.
Yeah, take the time to breathe. Just breathe, baby. That's what I say. Just breathe, because airway is very big. We need that oxygen.
No, it's real. I think I was like 28 or 30 years old when I realized I wasn't breathing. Like somebody literally told me like, hey, like you're not breathing right.
Yeah.
And then it tried to have me do like a breath exercise. And I was like, oh, this is hard and painful.
Wow.
And because I have a lot of, I have CPTSD, sensory childhood trauma, and all that stuff stays in your body until you, that's why when you talk the science stuff, like I couldn't understand it somatically, but once I read about it and like on an intellectual level, it's like, oh, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
That allowed me to like work through things and figure it out. But it is real. I think 90% of people are not paying attention to simple things like that really have such a big effect on your health and your day to day.
Yeah. I do the stress and wellness. I'm like, how many of you guys know your heart rate? As simple as, so, what I've learned is that the things that I've learned show up in the places that I want to be. And I'm excited to talk about heart rate. If I wasn't a nurse, so I'm not, and to all my nurses, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but the environment didn't serve me well. So if you come into my wellness class and my stress management class, I'm going to ask you what your baseline is. You got to know these things. They don't want you to know it so they can dictate pharmaceutical, but it's another conversation.
No, it's real.
Because I got in trouble from my nurse manager. Oh, you're talking a little bit too much about the side effects. I'm like, oh my God.
That's crazy.
This is not why I wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah. Trust me, I got my qualms with Western medicine. And some of it is good, like, there's good information there, but it's gate kept, and there's, all kinds of discrimination, things that happen. But going through what I went through with my wife and the cancer journey is what really got me here to being like, nah, like we need to spread this knowledge before it gets too late, before you're in, like she is extremely super, super successful professionally, but all of that stress from all of that work completely tore her body up. And it's like, everybody I know in my family is like that. And nobody has any concept of what's happening to them. Like they don't understand why they're sick. They don't understand why they're tired so much.
Well, it's the machine, right? You got to keep going. As you get home is nighttime. Like the cycle doesn't stop,
Yeah. So my whole thing is like, how do we break people out of that cycle? I understand that people still have to live and survive in this country, like in capitalism. That's what we're dealing with. And it doesn't make it easy to focus on yourself. But I think what I'm hearing from you is like, plan it out the same way you would plan out your job. Like make it as important. Set an alarm the same way you would set an alarm to get up for work, to take care of yourself and work it in that way. I think that's super.
Because you're doing it for them, right? You're doing it for your career. You set your alarm to get on the train. Why can't we set the alarm for ourselves? I read a lot and they say you'd rather go clock in for 8 hours than to give yourself an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. That's the program that we're in, and that's why there's so many comorbidities out there, because we don't value our body, or like you said, we don't know what's causing it because we got to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm. You're stuck on that wheel.
Yes. Yeah. And when you're out the vortex, it's really hard to get back in. And when you grow, so why would they want you to know that growing like this is messing up your spleen? The spleen is the fountain of youth. Oh, man.
I got pain, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, I was like, yep, I got to go stretch.
Yep. Yeah.
No, it's real.
And stretching, remember, we're an animal. We're from an animal kingdom. what are the lions and the tigers doing all day? They're grazing and they're stretching,
Yeah, I know it's
right?
real. I
We're
see
not
how many
stretching
times a day
enough,
my dogs stretch. It's
right?
like inspired me. They stay doing downward dog, and I'm just like, yeah, I need to every time I see them stretch, I need to be stretching at this point.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, it's
So,
super real.
downward, exactly. That's valid. Downward dog time. Yeah, it's valid, and we just have to have more grace for ourselves, more self love, and there's definitely companies like myself that are out there. You just have to say yes, to the opportunities because they're not going to just show up. You got to do the work. You got to do the work.
Very, very true. I'm going to put a plug out there. People listening, we have guided meditations. We have lo-fi and nature sounds on our YouTube. So check those out if you need something to get you started. And there's 1,000 million jillion resources on YouTube. So it's not just about us. There's tons of people out there doing this work,
Yes.
but it is definitely worth investing in. All right, so let's switch to something a little bit happier. You
Yes.
mentioned like the happy side of what you do. We talk about, I don't want this always to be about happy stuff, but
Yeah.
it's real out there.
The
What do you think?
system.
What is Yeah, like, we in it all, especially with the current administration. It's a lot going on. But what do you do, or what are some things that you do that bring lightness and joy into your, not just your work, but into your everyday life?
Oh, that's great. So besides meditation, which I'm getting like low key addicted because I just need to get out of my own head. I joined a all black yoga studio. I'm so
I love
excited
that.
for it because the practice pulls on spirituality, which I would love to build more on. As a youth, I don't remember, and I think just in times overall, we lean on the higher up, whomever, if it's Allah, whatever. I'm very big on learning about other people's religions, and I love the practice because we pray, we set the tone. I'm in a space of intentional. If it's not
Hmm.
intentional, I'm not going to show up there, and that makes me happy because I showed up a lot of the times in my life to saying yes when I didn't want to. So
Hmm.
the power of no is life changing. The power to slow down for me is life changing. I am getting back into reading more, which is great for me. I was always a bookworm. And so just allowing me to have the space because I'm not working full time. I love nature. I mentioned the yoga ranch. I befriended a farm owner. I have my own cottage anytime I want to go there. When I'm on social, yeah, I love hugging a tree.
Love that.
And I love travel. I'm looking forward to going to Japan in 2 months. It's my time to get back on that journey. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for what's to come from a place of ease,
Hmm.
not fear based.
Mm.
So I'm happy about letting go of fear and just more flowing now.
Love
And
that.
every
That's
day it
super
can look
cool.
different. So just being happy with that too, because I could be very rigid or was. And it's okay if something didn't go as planned. And I said that and my shoulder just went up and I got to ease it. It's like, wait, hold on. So it's so crazy how the memory of our body can just show up. That's
Hmm.
why some people who don't work out often, when they do, they can lose the weight because our bodies don't forget.
Mm.
So just working out more and being in nature, that's my happy place.
Love that. Nature is super, super crucial for me. It's like if I'm not outside every day, then I could feel, something's not right. I love those things. Do you have any upcoming projects, initiatives, anything you're excited to talk about? Let people know.
Yes. So, as a DOE vendor, I have some workshops coming out. I also launched a Network Like You Mean It course. I will share the link with you. It's uh, 18 actually lessons, self-paced micro lessons at your fingertips. So, your
Mm.
women out there that kind of want to be intentional with the information that they're receiving, I have that for you. Now, it is structured just like any other course, but it's the actionable life lessons. I don't want to call them homework because I can't pressure anyone to do the lessons and the assessments, but I built something pretty darn cool. I did it all summer to launch it for my community. I want to go global. I want to go global with this information. So yeah, I have a course ready. I have some corporate engagements that are scheduled for top of year. So I'm just flowing. And a lot of people want more advice. Ask Jessica is coming soon.
Oh,
Where,
cool.
yeah, I think it's time to answer questions. You know, I have a healthcare background, I have an entertainment background, and a communication. So I'm sure I can help you with something.
Yeah, there's a wealth of information there. My favorite phrase from back in the day is "each one teach one." I love
Yes.
that. There's just go to your community. Tons of people have tons of knowledge, and it's always great to tap in.
Yeah.
We will definitely link everything that you're talking about
Yes.
below in our description. Hopefully, by the time this comes out, Ask Jessica will be up and
Yes.
running. And people can go out and support you there. And then we'll
Yeah.
drop also your Instagram and all that as well.
Thank you.
Is there anything that haven't talked about that you wanted to cover?
I think we spoke about a little bit about everything. The only thing I would say is also if you didn't want to necessarily do the course right away, I have my 2 books on Amazon, Network Like You Mean It,
Mm-hmm.
the 10 Simple Tips can kind of like warm you up a bit. It's a very, and I didn't bring it today, but it's a guide. It has prompts. You can put it in your bag. Like, okay, tip number 2, I want people to be able to actionize the things I'm doing or teaching. So that could be a good book. It's on Amazon. It's a bestseller, and I can share that link with you. But I did
Yeah,
publish a book to help people get unstuck.
yeah, of course. We'll have that linked up too.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much
guys.
for coming on here today.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
Thank
great.
you.
For everybody, please go out and support the book.
Yes.
And also, take the advice. Go meditate and breathe.
Yes. That's
We
it,
really,
baby.
we really need to take care of ourselves. You got to
That's
put the
it.
oxygen mask on you first. That's one thing I'm living
And I
by.
was going to say that, you're the best project you'll ever work on.
Mm,
And I'm just going to say that there.
we'll
If
leave
you
it at
know, you
that.
know. That's it.
Awesome. All right, y'all.
Bye,
Thank you so much.
guys. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Take
And thank you all
care.
for listening. And we'll be back next Thursday. All right.
Yes. Bye
Have a good week.
bye.
Beats and villains, we move with grace, healing in rhythm. At our own pace, our vibes stay sacred. Our roots run deep.